And I'll kind of go back to what I was talking about Friday. I'm going to kind of hide all this information a little bit. So this is interesting here because Friday, what did I say? I said this is probably a good place to long. I created a trade plan. I said we probably need to reclaim this level. We had a little break up, a little pullback, and then break up. Now this was the key. You were looking for a reaction. So when you're looking to short, you don't just short blindly. And so do you see how the price here exploded up? There's no short there. If you got a reaction and the price rejected, that would be a short. And so when you have a short idea, you're only looking for the reaction first before you take the short. And so you don't take the short because there's clearly no reaction, and you've got all of this liquidity, and the price just goes through all of this liquidity, clears it all the way up to the local value area high. And so there's no short. Actually, there's no short. You're actually looking at a breakout, and effectively the long idea here was correct. Yeah, so if you've been following my streams, I'm doing them every week now, just once a week on the Friday. You'll know that I'm not making this up. I'm just doing it live. And here, look, read that. Why I'm bullish on a higher low. You see that? Bitcoin price analysis. I did it live last Friday. I just looked at the charts, analyzed it, looked at the previous week, trade ideas, and then I just basically made this up live. Never looked at the charts in that period of time. Created the trend line. I said that you can't short here, and probably you'll be looking for a reclaim, and then you can probably long, and then possibly looking to take it all the way up to where I said that was kind of your first target. Abu Bakr Yahya. Thank you for. Did that come up on the? Let me just see, because I'm wondering if my. Did that come up on screen? I'm just having a look at my screen. Yes, it did. You're welcome. Right. He says, thank you for all you do for TRVL. How's El Salvador? Well, actually, I'm in Buenos Aires. I'm in Argentina. I'm at the southern tip of the Americas right now. That's where I am now. I'm in a hotel lobby in Buenos Aires. And yeah, El Salvador is amazing. You should come and visit. So I was looking at a higher low here. Do you see that? And possibly for some kind of bullish pennant. But what we're seeing now on Bitcoin is a breakout. So even if that was a good take profit, it's clear to see that the price hasn't rejected from the area. We've cleared all the liquidity. And what I'm going to do now is delete all of my analysis, get rid of all this shit. And that trend line held. You see that trend line? You see how it held? We get rid of all of this shit now. All of it's gone. Actually, I don't want to have it. I wouldn't mind having a look at that, because there was an inverse head and shoulders which came back into the, and we came back over the neckline. All right, that's quite interesting. We'll keep that. We'll get rid of this. What's that one? Get rid of that now. All of this is old stuff. So it actually, look, it fell lower and then it came back and it flipped the same area. So that's what crypto does sometimes. It does the thing that you want, but it often does it differently. Let's get rid of this shit. Let's get rid of all of this now. We'll get rid of all of this. This trend line. We can get rid of all of these and just focus on what really matters. All right, so let's look at that. Get rid of these. What's that? That's interesting, isn't it? See that it comes. These levels are kind of pretty much standard. It's where the liquidity is. We can get rid of that now. I think we can get rid of that. What's that V-shaped long? That was much lower. Get rid of that. We have the single prints. All right. So we've got all of that removed. We cleaned our charts up a little bit. Let's hide this stuff. We keep that trend line. We'll get rid of that. It's good to clean the charts up a little bit. And what we're looking for are the levels first. So let's just have a look at the levels. Let's just make sure all our levels are correct. So first we'll go to the higher time frame levels. You can see that we've got this monthly level. We've gone through it. There's another monthly level lower down. There. So that one is now washed. So typically I'll just rename it to washed or whatever you want to call it. Tapped, washed. Go to the weekly levels. That weekly level is now washed again. It's still relevant because we're at it for a back test. So we still need to flip it. This one is gone now. We can get rid of that. And then we have one down there. Weekly, weekly. That's a washed weekly. That one's gone. All right. Daily. Get rid of this one. There's one here now. You see that? There's a daily there. There's a daily level there. This one is washed. It needs to be flipped, but let's just kind of rename it. So these are liquidity levels that are gone, and we still have one daily level up there. So our higher time frame levels are set. These are our levels. You can see that this washed weekly is actually flipped. You see that? Into support level. So that's now acting as support. Do you see that? Perfect tap. That's a confirmation of this level being, it's washed in that the price went through it. You see it cleared it here, and then it went through it, and then it's cleared it, and now it's back tested it as support. Now we know that that level is a relevant SR flip, and that is our levels. Let's have a look at the volume. We'll go to the daily time frame. We'll look at both of the volumes. We'll look at the local range. We'll look at the higher range. I'll do both. Just make sure the volume is still relevant. So the value area is high, is a little bit higher. The point of control is still where it is. We've got a high volume node. It's slightly higher now. There. Got another high volume node there, and then we've got the value area low there. We'll hide that. We'll go to the local volume. Let's have a look at the local volume. Value area low. Local point of control, and we're kind of into the value area high now. Do I enjoy Argentina? Well, I arrived at 4:15 a.m. last night. I've had 2 hours of sleep. It's so far so good. It looks pretty much like Europe. Actually, it looks a bit like London. It's cloudy like London. So yeah, so far so good. I haven't really explored. Here I am with you guys streaming. Chile is in London. I guess you're somewhere in, I think you're in Africa, right? I don't know. Nigeria, I'm guessing. But correct me if I'm wrong. I could be wrong. So we've got our volume done. We've got our higher time frame levels. Now what we want to have a look at is the order flow. Let's have a look at the single prints first. So we have a bunch of single prints on the way up. You can see that, can't you? And I'm going to mark these out. 114731 to 116352. That one's been filled. Big selling tail. There's some single prints here. Let me mark these ones off as well. 109. 791. 2. 110. 294. Let's mark those off. They're your kind of big blocks of single prints. Let's have a look at the daily. We have a daily. We have some daily naked points of control. We have one here. See these red lines, these red horizontal lines. 119220. Naked daily point of control. One 119,200. One 116,200. 113,120. 111308. Right. Let's go and have a look at the weekly levels, the weekly naked points of control, if there are any. There's one here, which we haven't hit. That's actually quite a strong one. I'll tell you why, because I don't understand, but there's like two levels on one place. 111,400. Weekly naked point of control. 100. Keep an eye on that one. Okay, no more there. We'll have a look at the monthlies. And we have a monthly naked point of control here. 111,500. See that? So that's a really strong level. So we have that. Let's have a look at the order flow right now. I can see some bullish divergence as the price broke to the upside. You can see the CVD is going lower. The price is putting in higher lows. We're above the daily open. We're above the VWAP. It's bullish. It's a bullish state. Even though we're breaking out, it's a bullish state. I can't see any bearish divergences here. Definitely no way to short this. You can't short this because there's no bearish divergence. We've cleared through the liquidity like a hot knife through butter. So there's no shorts on the table right now. And obviously you can't long either. We have created some single prints in this recent push to the upside. Let me just make sure that I've marked them off. These are some recent single prints. So really these are like scalp, to be honest with you, on the current session. But I'll mark those off as well. And then I'm going to go back to the main charts and have a look at my main chart. And I don't know if people are paying attention. And, you know, I'm not a soothsayer. I'm not a fortune teller. I have a little bit of intuition. I have a little bit of a gut feeling when I do things, when I say things. But look at this, BTC Bulls Control. I posted that on the 1st of October. Mega bullish, support held. I do have a little look at the charts, and I kind of try and make some kind of graphic to indicate what I'm seeing, but not financial advice. I do kind of give clues as to what I'm seeing and what I'm experiencing in the charts. It's all based on technicals, and so all I do is just look at the technicals. And actually it's quite interesting because I got a really nice comment from someone recently. I just want to show you, and it was on my last Bitcoin video. And if you look here, look, this guy Henry X Prime, he says, just came across your channel, quite an interesting way you analyze the market, good watch. So anyway, I'm just kind of looking at options. That's all I'm doing. All I do is I look at options for the upside, options for the downside. I'm looking at liquidity levels. That's why I go through the higher time frame levels, the local volume, the higher range volume, the naked points of control, the single prints, and then I look at fib levels too. And ideally what you're looking for is confluence. When you're taking trades, you have to use correct risk management. You have to risk somewhere between 0.5 and 1% of your trading portfolio. Maximum, you have to have an invalidation, and that has to be either a hard invalidation or a soft invalidation, but there must be an invalidation. You have to have your take profit 1, take profit 2, etc. predetermined. And once you have your trade plan, you can scale into a long short at the right, after you see the right reaction. That's how it's done. I'm not advocating for any other trading method. There's so many ways to trade, but I'm just kind of focused on liquidity levels, areas of confluence, using correct risk management, and scaling in long or short in the areas of interest with hard or soft invalidations. And obviously it goes without saying, but then when you take trades, you journal your trades as well. And then you're creating stats over a longer period of time. You're creating stats so that you know which trades work and which trades don't, so you can learn from your experiences. That's how it's done. And so anyone who's advocating different, they have a different idea or a different method, that's fine, but that's not what I'm advocating. And basically I learned this method from chart champions, and so I think it's a very effective method as long as you're disciplined. And so I'm not going to take credit for something that doesn't belong to me. And actually it's probably an established method across the whole of the world, the rest of the world. It's the hardest part is the keeping your emotions in control and maintaining discipline. So looking at the charts now, if I bring up all of the liquidity levels, which is what I'm going to do now. And actually what I haven't done is I haven't updated the single prints. So let me just update the single prints and the naked points to control. I've got these figures in mind. So what am I going to do is I'm going to delete these ones which are cleared already. You see how these have been cleared? They've all been cleared. We're into some more single prints here, so they're kind of being cleared as we speak, as you can see. And I'm going to start marking these off, starting at the lowest point, just to have them as a point of reference. 114731. Oops. Through to 116352. Okay, let's get rid of this naked point, daily point of control. That's gone. This weekly's gone too. Let's clear this shit. Clear this old data. SSR flip. Get rid of that for now. Not relevant. What's this line here? That was a previous all-time high. Look at that, how it came down for a test there. That was nice, Get rid of it now. What's the next set of single prints that we have? 109791. Through to 110294. Single print, single prints. We have a naked daily point of control. Let's just mark those off. Let's put the other single prints in. That's 121. Oh shit. Let's clear this now. 022. Basically where we're at now, huh? So we're putting in some single prints exactly where we're at now. Yeah. Shit. Let's do that again. Uh, 121258. Kind of where we're at now. We're just putting in some single prints. And then we have some single prints above us, which we haven't tapped into yet. So let's just see how this plays out. Let's get rid of the single prints. Shmoo, welcome. Haven't caught you live in a while. Hope you're well. Connex ready to rip. Yes, Xing audit will be wrapped this month per Johan. I'm going to be analyzing Connex, so just stay online. We can go through Connex. So we've got the single prints. Let's have a look at these NPOCs as well. So we have the naked weekly point of control. What number is that? Where is my, there it is, monthly, weekly, there it is. What value is that? 111400, bam. The monthly is there too, shit, that's quite a strong area of support. A tad higher. And a daily 119. I'll do the dailies as well. So these are naked points of control, previous points of control from previous time frames. I'll do them in one by one. 119200. Start at the top. Work our way down. 116200. 113120. 111308. 130. So let's sell naked points of control from the previous time frames. And now that we have all of that data, we have our volume, we have our higher range volume, we have our higher time frame levels with the wash levels marked out, we have our single prints, we have our naked points of control. And what you can do, and we haven't put in a pivot yet, so you can always go from the all-time high to the pivot low here to look for the fib levels. And we've clearly passed the golden pocket, and we've back tested the golden pocket too. You see that? And you're basically looking where the lines are, the areas of confluence for liquidity levels. And you see there's quite a lot, actually. We've got quite a lot of support levels further down. The strongest level at the moment is going to be this level here, down here at 111, 400, 500, because you've got three levels kind of coinciding. But I mean, is anyone really gonna, if this just crashed, would you dip there? Would you long there? It'd be harder, but that's kind of the area, isn't it? Look, and it's 786 as well. That's the area. So really for continued upside, what you really want to do is flip the value area, and you can see the value area because you've got the value area high here. What you want to do for continued upside is you want to flip that into support. If the price can flip the value area into support, the whole lot, then we can have a breakout like that. And then when you have a breakout like that, what you want to do is you want to flip the all-time high into support for continuation. That's really what needs to happen. Okay. And so the first thing to do now is to flip this value area into support. That's for continuation to the upside. But at the moment, there's no short opportunities because we've sliced through the liquidity as though it doesn't exist. And there hasn't been any significant reaction. And naturally, the price is clearly still wants to go up. That's what's happening now. And even though there might be some kind of bearish harmonic in play, it is possible that we're looking at a bearish harmonic here, like a crab. If we are seeing something like a crab, you still need a reaction. And let me just get the harmonics image so you can see what I'm talking about. Oh, it's so fuzzy, isn't it? I can't see shit. Let's see if I get a better image. Instagram, huh? Don't want it. Why is it Instagram? That's the image that I wanted. It's the full image. Let's try this one. That's better. Don't worry about Forex. So if it's a crab, it's like this, isn't it? You're taking the high or a D. That's kind of what it looks like at the moment, isn't it? So and if it's some kind of bearish Gartley, doesn't look like it at the moment, but as long as you don't take out this X, then you'll basically be doing this, but then it has to put in a pivot and you'll be more like, I don't see that at the moment. But right now what I'm seeing more likely than not is a crab, a bearish crab, which is this one here. And can't be too strict on these ratios, but possibly looking for 130k, which would be correct because I do have 130k as an Elliott wave target. There, see that? This is from before. For me, that makes sense, huh? So you have an Elliott wave target with a crab harmonic at 130k. And then what you're looking for is some kind of timing here. So that's pretty sharp. That's pretty steep. I'd prefer something a little bit further. It's a tricky one because it depends on how aggressively we go up. If it goes up too aggressively, then you're not forming a crab anymore because you're going up too fast. Yeah, it doesn't look right. And you basically want to put in a pivot. I'd say a 1-to-1 on that move. The earliest would be Tuesday. But ideally later on next weekend, the weekend afterwards, and then it would look right, but then you'd get stuck at 130k. You'd have to get stuck at 130k to look like a bearish crab. Otherwise, I don't really see another harmonic unless you've got this one here, which is more of a butterfly or a crab. It's basically a bearish crab or a bearish butterfly. See, a butterfly kind of is a little bit lower. It just kind of tips the X. So you basically, what you're getting is a pretty much a swing failure of the all-time high. That would be a butterfly. And I think a crab would be more of a failed auction. Yeah. So the difference between a butterfly and a crab in this context is that you've got the all-time high. So let's just get rid of these liquidity levels, because the only one that matters is, they don't really matter at the moment, because I still feel like we got more upside. So I'll bring him back in a second. Probably heading to 130k, and I've always talked about 130k as a magic fib level, and I've got those fibs marked out from a previous Elliott wave analysis in my previous streams. I've always talked about 130k being the magic target number. So that's the area that I'm still targeting. Nothing's changed. I wasn't phased by this push down. As you saw last week, I was bullish, higher low. I was kind of thinking higher low. And that's why I had this trend line drawn, isn't it? For a higher low. I did that last Friday, didn't I? Everyone saw that. I just saw that, and I just put that trend line in. And so right now I'm thinking either a crab or a butterfly. I think a crab is more my preferred harmonic. And what you really want to do is have a failed auction. And so you want the price to kind of go up, whatever, do whatever it wants to do here. And the only way you're going to know that this is a failed auction is if you lose the previous, so that becomes a failed auction. And then if you get that kind of behavior, then you're targeting wherever you put in a pivot. You're targeting the 50 fib. That would be your target. It's kind of like a V-shaped recovery idea where you have this kind of, that's your V, and you're coming back for a neckline test. So it's only bearish to the 50 fib, depending on how we put this pivot in. And no one really knows how this is going to play out. And no one knows how this pivot is going to be put in. But ideally, wherever you put the pivot in, you're looking to come back to the 50 fib. And so what you have to do is you have to wait for the pivot to be put in. You have to wait for the price to react and to create this harmonic, which at the moment, my preferred one is a crab. Right? If you're going for a butterfly, it's more of a swing failure. Bearish crap. I mean crab. And it's more of a swing failure, and the swing failure will be off the all-time high. And effectively, you're kind of just going, bam, that's it. That's a swing failure. And if you get a swing failure, that I think that would be more of a butterfly. There you go. Something like that. You've got butterfly. And again, it's the same idea with butterfly. You're coming back down to the 50 fib. That would be your first target. It'll be easier to see because you're just getting a swing failure off the all-time high. I prefer a crab. And the reason why I prefer a crab is because it'll be harder to see for a lot of people. You'll get a lot of bullish, aggressive buying at the all-time highs for a continuation of the breakout. The price falls back underneath the all-time high, previous all-time high, and then it becomes a failed auction and you're coming right back down for liquidity. Let's do, when we've hit our 130 magic target, let's just say we do get that. Then you put back the liquidity levels. There you go, local point of control. Why not come back to the local point of control here for a back test there? Actually, why not come back to the point of control? Yeah, why not have a failed auction at 130k and then come all the way back down for a big test at the point of control? And that's really what you want to see for a long after you go up to 130k all the way back down to 117k. Why not? Fill those single prints right back down into the point of control. and then we have a chance to react to the point of control. Then we have a chance to flip this value area high, this whole value area into support, and then explode up for continuation type thing. Does that make sense? And I'm not sure about the timings, because if we do get a strong reaction from the point of control, it is possible that we just do an easy flip and push up for another push to the all-time high. So it will look like a failed auction, but actually it's just a V-shaped recovery coming back for a 50 fib test after rejection of 150k, and then you'll be going right back up to clear the shorts and clear the liquidity from the all-time high again. I think that's really where I'm at the moment. So I'm looking for a failed auction with a reaction at 150, 130, all the way back down to a neckline test at 118 for another long. If it holds, and it's really important that it holds, yeah. So you need a reaction at the point of control, and then going all the way back up to the all-time high. It's kind of where I'm at right now with what I'm looking at the charts, and it's the assumption is that we kind of top out here, because the price of Bitcoin can always rally, you know that. So you don't just blindly short, you look for a local higher time frame, a local time frame market structure change first. Otherwise there's no short. You're looking for a change of market structure on the 5-minute time frame, 15-minute time frame into 130k. Once you get that, then you can short on a local golden pocket, and you can take it all the way down to 117 and a half, 118k, and then you'll be looking to long it back on a reaction off the point of control right back up to the all-time highs. It's kind of where I'm at right now with the price of Bitcoin, the way Bitcoin is behaving. And let's just see if we can take the all-time high out first. If you get some bearish CVD and you get local market structure change at 130k, that'll be a really good place to short. And then if you can get that to happen next weekend and then pull back all the way down to 118, that'll be an amazing short. And then there'll be a long opportunity. And then it's always possible for the long to fail, and you have a corrective price action rather than a continuation price action. It's always possible. And instead of having continuation, you're actually creating some kind of ABC going for lower. All right, so that's a really good place to short. Let's see if we can get that kind of price action. So that's kind of where I'm at with Bitcoin. I'm not going to dwell much longer. I'll put this here. Not financial advice, all entertainment value only. If you do take these trades, you have to use correct risk management and have a clear invalidation and clear take profits, only risking what you can afford to lose, which for most people is nothing. So don't risk anything. All right, that's Bitcoin. Any questions? I think I've been clear about what I'm looking for. Let's just quickly have a look at a few other things pertaining to Bitcoin. What have I got here? ETH. Let's have a look at this price action. I mean, look, I did look at that harmonic. I did kind of say that was the top, wasn't it? And it pulled that, didn't it? It could still be corrective. I don't know if this is just going to pump. It's hard to know. It looks like with ETH, we are kind of still potentially putting in a lower high. But, you know, ETH could always pump and make another all-time high. So, ETH BTC doesn't look bullish at the moment. It still looks corrective. We're still underneath the point of control here. So I'm not sure that ETH is going to pump. And maybe we're going to still continue seeing the capital rotation, and ETH is going to go sideways You see that ETH? I can't see the value rocketing into ETH yet from Bitcoin. So let's have a look at Bitcoin dominance. Kind of still lingering here, aren't we? Just what's the weekly look like? Let's get rid of these lines. I mean, last week was bullish, so for Bitcoin dominance, and so we're seeing Bitcoin dominance continuation. But the market, the monthly was bearish. That's not bullish. So that monthly time frame candle, that green one, is really bearish. So actually, I'm probably inclined to think down, huh? I don't think up or sideways and then down. I'm not like looking at this going, wow, this is really bullish or Bitcoin dominance. Looking at these candles, that 3 monthly candle was mega bearish. Look at that. That's a 3 monthly bearish engulfing with increasing volume. It's really bearish 3 monthly candle, actually. So I'm really feeling bearish on Bitcoin dominance at the moment on a higher time frame. What I haven't done is I haven't looked at the Bitcoin 3 monthly candle. Let me have a look at that quickly. It's bullish, that 3 monthly candle. Oh fuck, what's one of these lines? That's a bullish 3 monthly candle. Why? Because it's a close, it's a higher close. That's the highest close on a 3 monthly candle on Bitcoin ever. That's really bullish. Closing higher is bullish. And you've got the price goes up, clears liquidity. It's bearish in the sense that you've got a selling tail, but it's bullish because it closes higher. Let's have a look at ETH. Again, ETH is looking quite bullish as well. Look at that. It's the highest 3 monthly close, isn't it? And look at ETH BTC. That's a higher close above that previous candle. You reverse all of that volume. This is looking like a nice reversal on ETH BTC. So everything's looking bullish for altcoins, to be honest with you. Even Solana, that 3 monthly candle was really bullish. Look, it closed higher. Really nice 3 monthly candle there. Let's have a look at BNB as well, because that was putting in some all-time highs, wasn't it? Look at BNB. That's a really highest close ever, above $1,000. So you have a pretty strong psychological level at $1,000 now, which has to hold the support for continuation, which it looks like it wants to, huh? And remember in my stream, I said a few weeks ago, I said $1,000 is a good place to sell. It was until the market bought back at $930 and then pushed it all the way up to 1,143. So Binance coin is still rallying, huh? For that, it's rallying. All right, let's just quickly have a look at Pax Gold. Yeah, Pax Gold looks like it's yeah, that's a really bearish 3 month candle, that green one. And now we're getting a sell-off from Pax Gold back into BTC. So you think those green candles look bullish, but they're not. They're bearish. And they've cleared the liquidity from the lows. And it's a market buy. And therefore, we're getting a pullback. And it's falling. Let's have a look at USDT dominance. Continuation. It's looking bearish. It's not looking like a reversal just yet. Decreasing prices, increasing volume. That's bearish. See that? See the volume, increasing volume, decreasing prices or percentages. That's bearish. So on a higher time frame, USDT dominance is bearish. Royale says Connex is not increasing. All right. So that's kind of my overview of the markets. Any questions, please leave comments on the YouTube stream or on my X page. I'm happy to kind of answer. You've got my outlook for BTC now.